Man, that cuts off quick.
Right, doesn't it? Hey, man, welcome anybody who is watching or will tune in. It's Lightning for Liberty, and I'm Josh, the Renegade Butcher, and we've got Brian over here.
Hello. How we doing?
Brian from the Lots Project. Y'all should go subscribe to his shit, subscribe to my shit, but we're not here to talk about our shit today. We're here to talk about Bitcoin Lightning, because we're apparently definitely not experts in it, but we're learning about that shit. And we kind of like it. So we'll introduce ourselves and kind of jump into some shit. Brian, why don't you go ahead and go first? Who the fuck are you?
I'm Brian with the Lots Project. Lots Project stands for Living Outside the Systems of Control. My wife, Corey, and I homesteaded up here in Minnesota for 7-8 years. Decided we didn't want to be in the butt-ass cold anymore. Going to pack up. We retrofitted an RV. Tricked it out, boondock. We can boondock for a couple of weeks as long as we can find water, man, pretty much indefinitely. If we can find water and propane, really, for a long time. Yeah, so we were going to take off and kind of travel around. Shit went sideways with fuel prices and all that. They're kind of coming back, so we're staying fluid. But yeah, we're going to hit the road. We're selling our homestead, getting ready to sell it. Blue collar guy, man, like tech guy, technician, not techie, like computer shit. Like I made that intro, so you can see how my tech level is.
Hey, it's better than the intro I made.
But no, I mean, technical background, maintenance. I was a control room operator for a startup that we converted waste plastic to synthetic crude oil. Was like with the R&D on that, with the process engineer and the CTO, who was like multiple PhDs. The dude was like uber smart. It was pretty cool thing. First industrial size factory doing that in the world. And I got to I was employee number 7, I think. So it was cool. Learned a lot about, process controlled, SCADA controlled processing and PLCs and stuff like that in that job. A lot of industrial maintenance, got a mechanical background. Just learn whatever. I'll go take a job. I'll take 2 steps back to learn a new skill and just, whatever I can get my foot in the door. And it's usually those manual labor, learn it and proceed kind of jobs. So that's kind of my target has been.
So technical, but real life.
Oh yeah, for sure. Punching wrenches and all sorts of shit all the time. As a control room operator, that's why they liked me so much. That's why they made me like the lead, tech lead and control room lead, was because I was down there with the maintenance guys tearing the shit apart. Because I knew if I could learn it on the SCADA end and I could tear it apart, put it back together. Now I know how it works. Like I'm on both sides of that. I can see inside this piece of machinery and I can see the feedback from the computer and I know how they both work. So now I know it. So that's kind of my MO. When I get interested in something, I dive in. So that's kind of like Lightning. That's how I got into it. I bartended for a decade before I got into all this industrial maintenance shit. I went to college for a while and then started bartending and realized I was making shitloads of money. And of course, that was going to last forever and ever and ever. I was going to be able to do that till I retired. So I quit school and went and did that. Yeah, it didn't work out that way.
Not quite, huh?
So yeah, So that's kind of the road I took. I started looking at crypto, a little crypto background. I'm not a crypto baller by any means. I've dabbled in it pretty seriously for the last probably 3 years. What is it, 2022? Yeah, 2018 maybe. But everybody's got their Bitcoin cry story. I recently disposed of a notepad I found back in that job that I was talking about, working for that startup back 2012-ish, back in the beginning.
In the olden days.
Yeah, back when I was freshly divorced and super broke, and I found a notebook that had it was brainstorm of how to come up with $100 to buy this Bitcoin shit at $13 a Bitcoin. I couldn't come up with $100. I mean, it was a flyer at that point. Like seriously, if we were going to throw $100 at it, it was like basically playing the lottery.
Pretty much.
I wish I had played the lottery.
Nobody had any confidence in it back then.
I was so piss broke that $100, man, and I was drinking pretty hard too. So that was like a bottle of Crown and a couple packs of smokes. So I didn't buy Bitcoin.
Right? Oh shit.
So I kind of forgot about it. It was on my radar. Like I'd hear about it. I always kind of read the techie news and shit like that. And yeah, I kind of followed along a little bit. Didn't really get into it. Didn't get into it. Kind of observing. And then I started listening to that jackass, Jack Spirko. I mean, jerk. That's what we're supposed to call him.
Jackass, whatever.
That jerk, Jack Spirko. Yeah.
Jackass, jerk Spirko.
He put me back over the edge. And kind of dove in. So I've been kind of muddling in and doing what I can. Got into a lot of alts and messed around with that and kind of learned a little bit of TA. But it doesn't really stick well in crypto, I've found. I mean, people say it does. I don't know. Maybe I'm not good enough at it. But yeah, just messed around. Really looked into the utility of projects, what they did. Got into that a lot. Studied into what they were doing more than watching prices and stuff. The technology is what is fascinating to me. The money making ability obviously is there,
sure,
and the value that you can get from it. But I was more into the tech side of it, and yeah, so that's kind of me. Yeah, and Lightning, it lit the synapses up in my head when I started to really understand it. It took a little bit. When I did understand what it was, what it did, how it worked, even on a basic level, it just lit my brain up. And when that happened, I saw utility everywhere. And that's when you kind of approached me about starting up the Lightning for Liberty Telegram chat, because we were like, hey, we should have a place where we can talk about this instead of bogging down our own chats with Lightning discussions. Why don't we have a place where
we're having a lot of it?
Yeah, like why don't we have a place where we talk about it? So we dove in there and kind of opened it to anybody, and we opened it to everybody from coders and developers to people that were just looking to figure it out. Yeah, I was blown away. The conversations in there were fantastic. But I also
took off on itself.
Yeah, and we both kind of came to the same conclusion at the time was, this is awesome because I can understand what they're saying, but I can't imagine being someone, especially that hasn't been into crypto yet at all, trying to come into this conversation and understand what the hell they're talking about. It's
and I can see why people get so intimidated by it.
Right, and
completely different.
Yeah, if you've been in crypto for a little while and you've been around the terminology and you've transacted and you kind of get how it works, adapting into the Lightning world is easier.
Well, I think if you've been in crypto and you come into the Lightning side of it, it's like astonishing how easy it is, where it's almost hard to believe how easy it is.
Correct. You're almost thinking like it's a scam or
it feels like it, yeah.
But yeah, coming in and trying to onboard directly into Lightning, which, man, it's designed for that, but there is a little bit of language barrier. There is a learning curve and an understanding of what you're actually doing that makes it more valuable to use. Like, I can send play money all over the world. I can just like, hey, Josh, here's a diddly do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't hold any value. It doesn't, not necessarily that it doesn't hold value. It's just like,
it's nothing like, for me to send you 3 cents.
Swipe the card instead of handing $1 to the cashier.
Right.
The card is like, zoop, 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 zoop. You don't know what's going on.
It can literally send you a fraction of a penny for free in half a second.
Right. So once you actually understand what's going on, and that you understand that it is Bitcoin, and it's just microscopic fractions of it, you understand more the possibilities of it, that it isn't just for playing around and sending somebody like, I gave you a half a cent because I think you're cool. Like,
right.
That's just the tip, man. That's the
tip of the iceberg.
It's the tip of the iceberg. So that's me. That's where I'm at. That's kind of what I did. I took 10, man. Go ahead, take 10.
Oh, you're good.
What's going on with you?
No, I mean, I'm Josh. I run renegadebutcher.com, a bunch of other shit. I'm like a serial entrepreneur. I've always done a bunch of random crap. But I grew up, I homeschooled, very different family kind of thing. Always been kind of nerdy, sort of grew up on the internet in a way. I came from doing grocery store stuff to going to school for electronics engineering. Real hardcore into that. Was an amateur radio operator as a kid. So I really had that tech background, but not more of the utility side of it, you know. I ended up doing a couple of different tech jobs, copy machine repair, medical equipment repair, that sort of thing. But it was always more on the technician side, less of the engineer side, even though I did go to school for engineering. It wasn't for me so much. It didn't keep me engaged because that people aspect wasn't there. I can do it, but I can't do it for long until I burn out. So I stepped away from that, went back to grocery for a while, went and ran a handyman, home construction, lawnscaping kind of business for a while.
So in the grocery, were you bagging?
I started out bagging. I did, yeah. But I always ended up in management positions. Everywhere I go, I end up in management positions, which sounds, oh man, you're bad at. No, you end up fucked with having to have all the responsibility. But
yeah, I can't even count the number of bartenders I told don't take that bar manager
don't
position.
do it.
Don't do it. Dude, do you like making $300 in cash a night? Because you take that, you're gonna get a paycheck and it's gonna be a lot smaller.
Right. It's like if you make more money, even if you make a little bit more money, it's not gonna be worth it for the amount of work and stress you have. You're gonna hate your job every day you go for the rest of the time you have it.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. But you know, I ended up moving to Texas, and I just kind of like shit was changing. Moved down here and was like, I'm gonna take what I can fucking take. We're gonna see. I didn't want to start up my handyman shit again because there's a market. It's already competitive enough. There's enough going on. I already know I'm not gonna do well with that here. So I looked around, took a temp job processing deer, ended up sucked into the butcher world, learning all that, switched jobs, worked for another processor, pretty much learned all that in and out in a couple of years because it's what I do. I find a skill and I fucking learn it. So got pissed off with the industry and the way things are going on and the way some people were handling shit. Ended up running my own shit, going out teaching people how to process their own stuff. So long story short, that's how I ended up there. I've always been kind of liberty, freedom minded. I don't like people telling me what to do. I like running my own ship. That's just kind of my personality. And I ended up deciding to, even though I've listened to that, that jack off jerk, Jack Spear Code, I ended up listening to him for years, which
I appreciate that guy.
That guy, the recurring
on a daily basis.
Yeah, I know.
It's unreal.
But I'll tell you what, though, a lot of people who end up in this space have listened to him, and that's part of why I just kind of kept with the whole entrepreneurial thing. He's very encouraging in that aspect. He's always, from way back, had his finger on the whole crypto pulse thing, and I'll admit I was skeptical as shit for a long time. I didn't mess with Bitcoin. Every once in a while I'd buy a little bit, and I end up selling it. I was like, I'd dabble, I'd play. Never got into it real heavy. I did the altcoin thing a little bit here and there, but never seriously. I didn't sit there and try to basically Forex the crap to try to make a bunch of money on it. I just would experiment because I was curious. And as things progressed, I started going, no, this is the way things are going to go. I need to get serious about this and really learn it. So I heard about this festival going on about a couple years back, and a bunch of these guys from this Unloose the Goose podcast were going to be there. John Bush was going to be out there. I knew he was kind of in that. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take some sausage that I made up and go and barter with some of these guys out here in the middle of nowhere in Texas for some crypto, because fuck it. Why not? Why buy it if I can earn it? We'll see how it goes. End up having a great time. I was like,
you listened to that jerk, Jack.
I know, right?
And
I did listen
and sold stuff for crypto.
Right. I tried to use my brain a little bit, and so I go out there, and the whole time I'm thinking, all right, I'm camping out there. I'm going to take my work van, just going to barter some stuff, and if it sucks, fuck it, I'll go home. But the timing was right. I didn't have a lot of work scheduled then. I needed a break. Let me go do this, man. It was awesome. Hanging out, bunch of like-minded people, cool as hell. I ended up cooking the majority of it and serving people because nobody had anything to cook with out there. It was all last minute thrown together. Ended up doing it on purpose again this year at a big old thing or whatnot. And that jerk Jack came this time. First time I ever met him. He got to hang out. And he'd been talking about the whole Bitcoin Lightning thing a bit before that. So, I mean, I'd I've been listening to it. I've kind of been paying attention, but not real close. He comes up to me and he's like, hey, you're going to let me pay for this damn sandwich for once. And I want to do some Bitcoin Lightning transactions while I'm here. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's do it. So I open up Exodus wallet and I was like, all right, well, like probably the hardest wallet to do a Bitcoin Lightning transaction on, honestly. But this was back in like May when we were all kind of still learning about it a little bit. And it's amazing how much things have progressed even since then. It's crazy how fast it's changing. And we went ahead and did it. And we were just both like, wow, we're out in the middle of nowhere with a shitty cell phone signal. And that was like 30 seconds. And it didn't even cost us anything. I think one of us might have paid like not even a penny for a $5 transaction. Holy crap. All right, that's cool. Well, that kind of stuck in my head. And then I started looking into it more after the whole festival vibe kind of died down and I got back to real life and really started digging into it. And the deeper I dug, the more it just it's like a worm in your brain. You start seeing, like you said, those possibilities. When you start seeing the potential and seeing how the market's changing, seeing major retailers adopt this, seeing more possibilities. And then because of that too, and meeting a lot of cool people like Brian Norton and everybody there and getting pulled into this and got kicking the ass of, you need to be producing content for the stuff you're doing. I ended up doing the podcast thing and meeting a bunch of cool people like this jackass over here. And, but everybody's playing with this shit. And we mainly do our shit on Telegram. We do most of our communication on Telegram. Well, Telegram has this Lightning tip bot. You can add it to a channel and suddenly, boom, you have value for value. You can just tip each other tiny little fractions of pennies if you want to. And it's easy. It's there. You have a Lightning wallet. You type in tip this guy this much. Boom, it works. I'm like, well, that's fucking ridiculously simple.
Well, it wasn't simple when we started.
Well, no, we had to fiddle with it a little bit. But once you figured it out and you figured out how it worked and then you enabled that, it was crazy, though, seeing the change in the groups. Like people were like, oh, that's easy. I can do that. And suddenly people were just doing it. It was like a natural thing. People started using money in a way that money was meant to be used to exchange value instead of this fucked up system that we end up in now. And I was like, man, this could change everything if it gets adopted.
Well, and the best part is I didn't need 1,000 subscribers,
right,
to enable this. I didn't need anybody to take any fees from me to use it.
Exactly. It costs almost nothing to do to use.
Even if it did cost something,
it's less than a credit card transaction.
Yeah, or YouTube monetization with like a super chat that they take 30%.
So like 10 times what it costs to take a credit card. Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous how much. And that's the other thing, though. It's super easy and it enables something that wasn't there before that I've ever seen in a platform. I've never seen it really work that well, that smoothly. And we had stuff like Brave had their token and stuff, and you could kind of tip some websites, but it was never interactive enough where people were directly doing that. So then when we started looking into it more, we started up the Lightning for Liberty, the Telegram group, just because that's all we were talking about for a minute. We were excited, both of our chats. I'm chatting about meat processing, and you're talking about your life and the RV whole thing or whatnot. And we just like all talking about Bitcoin Lightning. That's all we were talking about for Bitcoin.
It was all questions.
Topic. Right.
Everybody was like, whoa, what's going on? What is this?
Exactly. So let's put this over here and try it. And it just kind of blew up. And then we started getting guys who run nodes. We started getting developers popping in, and it just grew on its own. And then Jack, along this whole time, started up the Bitcoin Breakout, which is awesome. And we're totally not trying to copy you, even though it's a great idea. But hey, it's just one of those things that we're doing so much discussion on this. I'm like, man, we could fill a podcast.
Oh yeah.
So we tossed it back and forth and decided to throw it out there and do something. And since then, I've had downtime with my regular stuff a little bit because of the drought out here. So I've been doing a bunch of website work, and everything I've been doing, I've been trying to integrate the Lightning aspects to it too, as like an add-on. Found that was harder than it should be because it's still new tech. So I go out and build a whole fucking website to make it easier, just as a side thing. And that just really sucked me more into that world of looking more into the dev side of it and everything. So it's like I've got one foot in kind of both worlds. I'm not saying I know all of the ins and outs, but I've learned enough of it that I find myself all the time explaining to people who have no idea how to kind of get into it and sort of understand it. So
right, you don't have to be a coder to explain it to somebody that's got zero knowledge.
Right.
And
exactly.
it's almost better that you're not, because you're speaking a different language, like literally speaking a different language on a daily basis,
possibly multiple languages.
Correct.
It's a whole different world. And the other thing I've been seeing is, the guys over at Albi do a really good job with this. They've actually got a team of people that are like promoting it and everything, but they kind of have to have that person, that intermediate, because when you're living in that coder world, like for a while when I was really working on the itty-bitty.tips thing, and I would be sending you shit, you'd be like, what the fuck are you even talking about? And how the hell did you do that? For me, I've had my head in this computer.
What if you do this? Days. Why don't you do this? And it was on the user end.
It is, right, exactly. But it's really easy to lose track of that when you have your head stuck in that computer every day trying to figure out how to fix this one problem. Mm-hmm. And you don't realize, shit, you might spend 3 days trying to figure out one line of code of why this bitch won't work.
Right.
I'm teaching myself programming languages to figure out how the fuck to understand the problem I'm even having. And it's hard to transition from that to how do I pay my guy in Seattle for coffee? The easiest way. And that's all what the people who are going to adopt this and use this and drive it, who are adopting it and using it and driving it, that's what they're worried about. How do I fucking use it?
Well, the best part is people are using it right now and they don't even know it.
Exactly.
They're transacting in dollars, and they're transacting in dollars, and it's being transferred on the Lightning Network. So there's a possibility that you've been using Lightning and you don't even know it.
Right. It's just not. So like all your Visa and MasterCards and stuff like that, they're running on an old school network that's been in place for years. And the reason it costs you 3%, granted, they want to make money, but it costs you that because it's a big, labor-intensive, slow computer system. It takes a huge network to move those funds around. Well, Lightning basically just completely nullifies its validity at this point. It is so efficient at what it does that you can't help but look at it, even as somebody who's a big central banker who's scared of this shit, can't help but look at it and go, we're fucking stupid if we don't use this. That's why we're seeing major platforms like Cash App, Strike, even, Cash App is run by Block, which is like Square. They're adopting this at a base level in ways too. Now, they won't necessarily tell you how integrated it is because it's trade secret shit, but you start seeing this shit, it's just integrating everywhere. Because if you're in that space and you have any knowledge in it, it blows your mind how much quicker this is, how much ridiculously faster this is. You remember like 2 or 3 months ago, Brian, like it was blowing our mind how you could put a QR code on your podcast picture and people could take a picture of it and tip you. And then think of where we're at now with it and how fast that's progressed in a couple of months.
Right, for sure. And it's snowballing. It's getting close to the tipping point. Well, right, and that's kind of why this podcast was brought about, is with all the stuff that's happening so fast. Let's talk about it. Let's have a place where someone can go back and listen to an episode and pick something up that maybe never got covered again anywhere in a chat or anywhere, because, man, that was 2 months ago. We're way past that. But maybe it was a key piece of information to make the light bulb come on for them. So exactly. Something small.
And that's the thing. And it's the tiniest things that will click in your head. You're like, wait, I could do that? That's a thing? That's even possible? Well, I mean,
and that was the piggyback in the Lightning for Liberty chat, was we would start talking about an idea and someone would say, hey, what about this? And then someone else would look at it and go, but we could add this. And then you saw those two things and you're like, but wait, I'm not even going to talk about your idea. When we're done talking about this one, let's talk about this. Because this is going to be crazy.
Mind blown,
Right.
Change everything.
And when I lay down to go to sleep at night, and I lay there for 2 hours thinking of places where this can be integrated. It's got its hooks in me. So
it's insane. Well,
so what is Bitcoin Lightning?
So what is Bitcoin Lightning? Right. So, well, we all kind of sort of know. If you're here and you're interested, you probably know what Bitcoin is. Roughly. I mean, it's probably out of scope of this to really dig in and explain that, but basically it's digital currency that so far has been the best one. It is the one that is unfuckwithable at the moment. It's blown the hell up. People see it as a big investment type thing and everything like that, but basically it's almost infallible at a code level. It's got problems, yes. It's scalability issues of it. It's big and it's expensive and it's clunky to send unless you're doing large transactions. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't make sense for me to turn around and send a regular, what we call on-chain, just regular Bitcoin to Brian. If I want to send him $5 for a coffee mug or $10 for a coffee mug, whatever, it doesn't make no sense because I may end up having to pay a pretty good chunk in fees to do so. And it might take 10 minutes, an hour. Hell, if I want to dial it down a day to send you that,
in a practical, not even sending it. So let's just say person to person. If I'm at a farmer's market and I want to buy something with Bitcoin, now I got to stand there with my thumb up my ass for 20 minutes for a confirmation, or what is 13 confirmation, 7 confirmation, whatever it is, depending on the wallet.
I mean, it's amazing what it can do, but it's really hard to utilize for daily.
This is where all the alts came from.
Right, because they were trying to solve a problem.
We can do it quicker. We can do it more efficiently. We can lower fees here or there. But
inevitably it fails because there's a human issue or they're controlling those funds, and then we run into these same problems of we can only have so many currencies, and then we have to convert between this and that, and you like that coin and I like the coin, and it's a mess. Yep. So what Bitcoin Lightning does, and it's new technology in that it's currently growing and really being developed, but it's been around about 7 years.
It's been being developed.
Right. It's just hit that point of maturity to where now it's usable. What it is, it's a layer 2 technology. It isn't something else. It's not a new token. It's not a new coin. It's still Bitcoin. It's just that they've built, I'm really dumbing this down. I'm not going to try to go into super technical crap, and I'm sure guys who really, really know this are going to pick it apart, but I'm using allegories to kind of explain to everybody who doesn't.
This isn't for them. This is
at the simplest level, we've created basically a new technology, new layer of code, a new way to move Bitcoin. And what it basically does is it takes these large Bitcoins, and instead of having one big transaction that is moved from here to there and confirmed a bunch of times and moves from this server to that, it is confirming how much of these small transactions quickly, peer-to-peer, over multiple different side nodes. That happens very quickly. It breaks them down into small transactions in a way that actually adds security. It obscures them. If you know anything about Tor or onion routing, that'll make some sense. It's kind of the same tech, and it's bundling them together and sending them all as one unit. But the confirmation that those funds are there and going to move to there happens instantly. So while the actual money moves around in chunks still, and it's still Bitcoin, and it's still done in a secure way, me sending Brian 3 cents right now, by the time I click that button, he's getting a notification that he's got it. And it's
like a visual representation of it is maybe like a basket full of apples. We're going to send 50 apples from me to you, or not me to you, but we're going to do it one apple at a time where we can just hand them back and forth.
Right.
And then when they all end up in the basket, we put it on the truck and it drives it to the new location.
Essentially, yes.
The Lightning transactions were us passing apples in the classroom. And then when we put the apples all in the basket and they all got confirmed over to the next classroom, that's where they batch moved.
Right, essentially. But still, instead of waiting until next class, once we moved all the stuff around to everybody, here, now I've got my apples.
It's leisured.
Right. Basically, it's like, I want to give Bob an apple, so I toss him an apple. And they all still get moved around. The apples are all still there, but we didn't have to wait to move all of the apples to get distributed to everybody. So it's a time save. Essentially, we found a more efficient way to move fractional versions of Bitcoin. Because back when Bitcoin was, like you said, $13 a piece, they did, okay, I'll send this guy 2 Bitcoin. 2 Bitcoins like over $40,000 today, as of this podcast. Right. That's not happening. If I want to pay my buddy in Seattle $50 for coffee or something, Okay, well, I want to be able to send that to him and have him get it now.
Right.
You know, and I don't want to have to pay $5 in fees to do it. That's the whole point of cryptocurrency. This enables that finally, and it sounds really super complicated, but you don't even need to know all that shit really to use it. Like I said, it's honestly, I was explaining to someone the other night, the hardest part about this Bitcoin Lightning stuff is now we have reached a point where it is so simple. It's actually simple, more simple than sending US dollars. It's just confusing because it's a little bit different, and moving it from US dollars into this is a little bit confusing and still a little hard. It's getting easier every day. So if I want to take 10 US dollars and send it to you, well, I've got to move it into Bitcoin Lightning, and I have different ways if I could do that. And what wallet?
Well, no, if you just wanted to send me $10, we would have to use PayPal. We would have to use a credit card. You would have to use my website where I'm getting dinged for fees. You're getting dinged for fees, or you're going to mail me a check, and now I have to go to the bank. Or you're going to mail me cash, which the pirates at the post office are going to steal. And yeah, so it's just clunky.
There's a lot of flaws in the system, and it can be complicated, and there's a lot of risk involved too.
And it's expensive. The more you mitigate risk in a fiat transaction, the more it costs. You're using a credit card, you're paying 3%. I'm sending cash, it's a stamp, but
while it seems super complicated and intimidating that I have to take this somehow and buy another currency and send it to another guy kind of thing, honestly, now it's, for me personally, when I paid Brian Norton for coffee the other day, I literally went and put money in my Cash App, took my US dollars and put it in Cash App. I even hate to call it money because Bitcoin is money. Put it in there, and I said, hey, send me a Lightning invoice for that. He goes, okay, cool. He sent it to me. Copy, paste, send. He had it in seconds. There.
In Lightning.
It didn't cost either of us anything. I sent it Lightning, over Lightning, just like that. Perfect. Super fast. Ridiculous. Neither of us lost anything in the transaction.
So literally, you could have walked into Dollar General with $100 bill and a $50 bill.
It was
handed it to the cashier.
Dollar General, Walmart, Walgreens, whatever. Yeah, load your shit up.
Brian Norton, and you're in Southeast Texas.
Yep.
And Brian Norton, Seattle, ends up with $150 worth of Bitcoin in under a minute.
Exactly. Pretty much as quick as either of us could switch windows and check the transaction. It's there.
So that sounds really difficult to me.
I know, right?
To use Lightning. You could, and just saying that you send it to Brian, well, you could send it to yourself too.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you want to onboard,
and send it to yourself. And I think everybody should do that. You should get a couple and experiment with it and learn it, because that's going to build the confidence, and you're not going to lose anything because you're just sending it to yourself. If you fuck up a transaction, oh well. If you went from Wallet of Satoshi to Breeze or to Telegram tip bot or whatnot, send that shit around to yourself and play with it. You might lose a fraction of a cent in fees, maybe.
Right. Yeah, and with Lightning and getting lower barrier to entry as far as monetary level, it really makes that possible. Like you can transact 100 Satoshis, which, I mean, is that a penny? I don't even know.
I don't even know at the moment, but it's not much. That's for dang sure.
So you could take and throw $10 in your Cash App and send it to a Lightning wallet.
Right.
And you could lose it all, but you could make a million transactions with that $10 before you could actually fuck up enough to lose it all.
Exactly.
If you're doing it 100 at a time because you put in $10 or whatever that is.
Right. And now there are ways if you fuck up and you put in the wrong address, sure, you could lose some crypto. If you screw up, if you're playing with like a node or something, there are more ways you could maybe misplace some stuff, but you pretty much know you're taking a risk at that point if you're playing at that level. I've sent a lot of shit around to myself just trying to learn these different things and what I do like to use myself and what I prefer. I don't think I've ever lost anything. There have been times where I'm like, I don't like how many fees, the amount of fee that I got charged by that wallet or through that method, and I decided not to use it. Or I've had issues where I'm like, I kind of got my shit locked in that place, but I'm playing around with like less than $1.
Right.
Where can you learn? Where can you give yourself a financial education for like literally less money than you could spend on any fast food, and probably be more versed at using that crypto than anything else. Right. It's hard.
And I mean, really, if you want to, and you don't, and you're uncomfortable putting $5 into play around, come to my group on Telegram, t.me/LotsChat. Say, hey, I want to learn how to use Lightning. I'll send you some.
Exactly. Any of our chats.
So I gotta say, Liberty. So my theory right now. So I have a lot of different places where Lightning gets thrown around. All our Telegram chats have the Lightning tip up where we do value for value exchange on information, on entertainment, whatever. You make me laugh, I'm going to send you a little Lightning. You give me a good recipe, whatever. Value for value. I also use Fountain podcast app where I get stream Satoshis for people that enjoy my podcast and they listen to it. They can stream me, they can boost me. So I have Lightning coming in. I have Lightning generating. Me right now, I take about 20% of it and throw it in a wallet and let it stack up. I'm guessing 80%. I dump right back in. I'm all about adoption right now, and not even value for education purposes. Like, here, let me send this to you so you fucking use it.
Well, like I said, adoption is a valuable thing. People.
Well, I guess I'm paying for the value on the back end of somebody adopting it and being able to use it. This
technology is only as useful as it is for us to be able to use. If nobody accepts a cryptocurrency, it has no place, and that's why so many of these alts have died, because nobody's fucking using them.
Yep.
So to help promote and show people how easy this is, I don't mind throwing a couple of bucks around here and there when it's teaching people how to use it, because at the end of the day, that's building the base and building more people who are transacting and using it, so that we can continue to use this as a regular means of transfer. I would love to see a future where, as a content creator, the majority of the income that I get from doing the content comes from Bitcoin Lightning, because it is so much more efficient and easy. But that's only going to happen if I also take time as an educator, as a presenter, as somebody who's doing this, to actually show people how to use it. And sometimes that just means I'm going to send you a little bit so you can play with it. And
it also means taking a half an hour on Wednesday nights and talking about the shit. So
exactly. But that's you providing a value to them, and they're going to probably provide that value back to you, because they know where it came from. And when they have a question, they're going to come to you and talk about it. And then that's where that value starts to go back and forth. And I was just talking about this earlier on my podcast, how providing value, when you do that and you go out and you sow those seeds, people are going to want to pass it on. They want to pay it forward. Hell, Jack was talking about it on his podcast yesterday a little bit when people were asking, how do you bring people into Bitcoin? I was like, it's educate. You have to educate people. You can't just show up and be like, hey, you should use this because I said so. No, show people how easy it is. And for me to literally go /tip 500 Satoshis, click in Telegram. That's how easy it is for me to send somebody that much. Suddenly they got a whole bunch of I've got all these little digits to play with. I can send these to people. Well, that's really cool.
You can send one.
And once you start learning how easy it is and seeing that, that's what gets the wheels in the brain going. And you start going, oh, this actually works. Oh, I could do this with that. I could do that with that. Holy crap. If this scaled, if I did this on a bigger scale, man, I could solve a lot of problems in my life. And that's where we're at with it. So that's why we're so excited about it.
Yeah, for sure. Do
you think we got any time for some questions here? We're at 40 minutes, surprisingly.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's kind of been an intro. We kind of covered what Bitcoin is or Lightning is and what we want to do with the podcast. I think maybe we wrap it up and then hit it hard next week.
We got a bunch of questions for next week. Yeah. And if you guys have any more questions, fire them up. If you're not there, join the Lightning for Liberty Telegram chat. If you're not even on Telegram, you can just put in lightningforliberty.com, number 4, numerical, lightningforliberty.com. It'll take you to the Telegram chat. You have to download Telegram. But it's easy. It's a fairly secure chat app,
It's more secure than a lot of things we use.
There's a lot of good. There's a lot of good discussion that happens over there, though. It's a really good community. And it's a good place to come learn and just experiment with this shit. And we're more than willing to help you out with it, get you going and learn it. You know, the thing is, it's so easy to be afraid of this because it's different.
Right.
But it's not any less secure than your US dollars sitting in your bank account that you use your debit card for.
I would say it's more secure than that.
It's absolutely more
Nobody
secure.
can tell you can't have it.
The scariest part about it is the fact that you're reaching a place where you are now responsible for your own funds.
There is
and
that.
If you screw up, it's you.
Dude, that's it's a legit concern for people.
Oh, it is. Well, if I made a mistake, the FDIC is not going to fix it. That is the scary part. But we're also talking about literal play money at this point. I have no problem sending $100 across the country right now with it because I've played with it and I've built that confidence and I know the mistakes I could make. But the only way to do that and get to that point is to experiment and play around with it. And it literally is going to cost. You could get into playing with this for under $1.
You could get into playing for it just by joining my chat, and I'll send you 5,000, and you can learn to mess around with it.
Exactly.
You can take your Exodus wallet if you have an Exodus wallet. If you have Bitcoin and you're into that, and you don't want to convert any of it because you're a hodler, you're scared to use it, whatever. Come and ask. I'll give you some Satoshis, and you can send it to your Exodus wallet. I will tell you how. I will private chat. If you don't want to discuss it in the main chat, I'll private chat and I'll walk you through it step for step. Just because I think it's that valuable to tell people how to do it and help them do it and help them feel comfortable doing it. So
if you have freaking Cash App, I will walk you through how I can send you some sats to your Cash App and you can go from there. You know, it's definitely doable. There's so many ways to do it. Yeah.
So, I mean, every week, I think what we decided we're going to take maybe 10 minutes a piece and talk about a subject. Maybe 1 week it'll be a wallet. Maybe 1 week it'll be a service, or something. We'll just each randomly pick something to discuss on our own. And then we'll take questions from anybody that's actually listening live, or we do already have a list of questions that have been submitted in the Lightning for Liberty chat. Our individual chats, things we hear, just people talking about, we have a record of that, and we'll just bring those into the fold and discuss them and we'll roll a half an hour to 45 minutes. But hey, we did it smart. We did it on Wednesday night, where we both, after this, we take off and head on over to the after party. And I mean, I'm getting up in my 40s, so I got a small bladder, so I can do like.
You gotta have a pee break. Yeah,
and then I have to have a pee break because we usually go an hour to 2 hours on the after party.
Yep,
so
exactly. I mean, we're like, we're going to do this because once we get talking on this shit, we would go for like 3 hours until we're like, all right, it's dark. I don't know. We got to go to bed.
Yeah,
it would happen. So we're bad about that. But yeah, if y'all are interested in seeing our ugly faces again, we're going to be on the UTG after party. You can find that on YouTube, and we'll be.
It's not like this show. It is not like this show.
It's way more kids. Oh yeah.
If you've ever sat in a hole in the wall bar and listen to a bunch of drunk assholes bitch and talk about stuff and make jokes and laugh. We're not all drunk. I don't think anybody really on the show's drunk. I'm
in a car, so I'm definitely not.
We're just a bunch of assholes.
Right. We're just all hanging out and bullshitting, but it's just guys getting together and chilling. And
hey, guys in there.
Well, guys and gals, you're right. Sorry. I need to be gender neutral now. But yeah, it's a fun time. But no, and if you've got any burning questions, like I just kind of want to know this now as far as lighting goes, and you don't want to wait till the next show, just let us know over in the chat. We're more than happy to help you out the rest of the time. You don't have to wait for the answer to your question if you really want to know. We'll definitely be there to try to. I mean, we're not experts at all, but we just want to see more people learn how to use this, and we don't want people to be just.
I know enough to be dangerous. I know enough to teach you how to use it, and if I don't know the answer, I know where to find it. So
exactly. We probably know the right people to send you to. We're enough to tell you, I don't know, we don't know.
And if you're not comfortable talking to them, I'm more than comfortable talking to them and relaying the answer. Because if I don't know, I'm guessing I'm gonna want to know. So
sure.
Let me handle it and I'll report back. Thank you.
Exactly. Well, yeah, like I said, I've got the links down here in the notes for YouTube for that. There's even, if you like this show, you can even click on the tip link and if you have a Lightning wallet and you've already played with it and you're just trying to learn more, you can tip us for the show. Or you can go there and you can actually learn how to get a link just like that. So if you want to be able to put that on your own stuff, if you're a content creator, if you got a website, and you want to be able to start dabbling with ways for other people to send that to you, we've got that there. That website's got a bunch of educational stuff too on how to get started with Lightning, how to use some of these wallets, some of the terms on that. I put a bunch into that. It's always getting improved while I've got the time. That's ittybitty.tips. So that's been my newest project. I'll riff on that a lot more later on in the future. There's not time for it, but you can check that out if you want to. You're just hungry for more knowledge. Check out the Telegram chat. Follow us on YouTube.
Do not go to ittybitty.com.
Yeah, we made that mistake the other week.
Tips.
That tips, just the tip. Anyway, yeah, don't go to just the tips either. But no, seriously, check that all out. And yeah, please, if you want to help us out here, since this is brand new, follow us on YouTube. If you're on Facebook or Twitch or anything like that, we're there. Check us out. Give us a follow. And we really appreciate that. Share it with your friends. If you got people you know who are interested in this, pass it on. So hopefully we'll be able to kind of help bring them into the fold too, teach them a little bit about it. Or if you just really hate it, let us know why and let's talk about it.
Hey, Josh, where can they find you?
They can find me at renegadebutcher.com or pretty much anywhere. Live.libertymeat.solutions is a good spot if you want to check out my podcast. And I've pretty much got all my links to all my social stuff there. Or you could just go to renegadebutcher.ittybitty.tips, and that's got all my links.
Perfect. You can find me at thelotsproject.com. I have a Get Social under Connect. You can find all my socials, or you can pretty much every podcast player, especially Fountain.fm, you can search The Lots Project. Remember to put there's some weird shit that comes up when you just do Lots Project.
So ittybitty.com stuff.
Yeah, not quite that bad. But, some stuff that I don't know if I want to be associated with. So be sure to put thelotsproject.com. Man, you can reach out, find me anywhere. You can hit me on any social. I'm on them all, and I get notifications if you post or comment or anything. Right now, we're trying to pump our YouTube channel, youtube.com/happyhillshomestead, or you can search The Lots Project on YouTube. It comes up. We're trying to bang out to 1,000 subscribers because that's the magic YouTube number. And yeah, we're going to probably be doing some giveaways and stuff when we get there. So
awesome.
If you're not subscribing to that, head on over there, subscribe, and hang out. And in a couple hundred subscribers, you might win something. So
it's a cool ass chat too. We have some good bullshit every morning over there. So
yeah, every morning, 6 a.m. for half hour. It's getting to start to be a little longer now that I don't have to run off to work. So yeah, every Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. Central on YouTube, Float, Twitch, Odyssey, all of it. And
all of the places.
Rolling back on into interviews on Saturday mornings. This week, I got Jackie Kerouac of Road to Autonomy at 9 a.m. Central. If it's past Saturday, like you're catching a replay of this on audio or on YouTube, head on over to the Lots Project on YouTube and you can catch the replay of that interview. It should be a good one. She is a badass bitch. So
yes, she is. I just had her on my show on Monday, and that was a great. We ended up going for like an hour and a half on a lunch break. So that tells you everything. So
all right, man.
Yeah, all right, man. Go take a pee. I'm going to too. I'll see you on the after party here in a bit. If y'all want to catch up with that, just look up UTG After Party on YouTube. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. And be sure to subscribe.